Vaporverse. How are we all today? Good, I hope. Now, whilst I sit here in the man cave looking out at the street hawkers trying to come knocking on my door with my big dog, I would like to bring to your attention some things I have noticed across the community. I sort of want to make a final note on the MHRA's announcement. I've seen quite a few interesting things. First things first, Mark Watson of Vapors Unite found this, and I think it's brilliant. I should just read it because it's fairly short. Sometimes common sense is the missing link in public health authorities' decisions. There is no other way to understand their reasoning. Several authorities are trying to implement a medicinal regulation of e-cigarettes, latest being the MHRA in the UK. First of all, we should remember that whoever tried that in the past has failed. Everyone lost in courts. The Netherlands, Germany, Estonia and the USA. The same story most likely will be repeated in this case. There are several legal and common sense reasons for this. 1. Definition. Nicotine is not a medication, or if it is a medication, you cannot discriminate and consider it a medication, in some products only and not in others. Since tobacco cigarettes cannot be regulated as medications, all attempts to regulate e-cigarette liquid based on nicotine presence should fail. Availability. Medicinal regulation will decrease availability, increase costs and limit sales of e-cigarettes. At the same time, tobacco cigarettes will be available everywhere. Thus, competition is in favour of tobacco cigarettes. One would reasonably think that the exact opposite should happen. Practicality. Medicinal regulation means that you should define specific dosage, determine consistent nicotine delivery and give specific instructions of use. These are impossible to implement in e-cigarettes since every consumer has a different pattern of use, similar to the use of tobacco. NRTs have failed for the same reasons, among others. Now, imagine prescribing e-cigarettes with a dosage like 15 puffs lasting 4 seconds every 4 hours. E-cigarettes are effective because they provide pleasure to the user, and every consumer has a different perception of pleasure. This precludes any efforts to regulate it as medication. Efficacy. Regulation will inevitably limit the availability of devices and e-liquid flavours currently available. Evidence shows that these parameters have a major role in e-cigarette success as a smoking alternative. Technology. Medicinal regulation is impossible to follow the technological advance of e-cigarettes. New devices appear every day. Batteries will evolve all the time, making them smaller and more efficient. And clever electronic units have become integrated and will increase the efficacy of the devices. Medicinal regulation will invariably stop this progress. Philosophy. Medicinal regulation based on safety of a consumer product is a very dangerous thinking. With the same reasoning, every consumer product should become a medication in order to ensure quality of production and safety. Even water should be regulated as medication. The regulatory authorities are following a very tricky path. Now, this one I found very interesting. Safety myth. Literally titled Safety Myth. Regulation proposes medicinal rules because it will improve product safety. This is an absolute myth. No studies on safety will ever be performed for this regulation. In fact, that will significantly reduce real research because all financial resources will be used for the medicinal approval. They have spent huge amounts of money for this over the past 3 years, and we have not seen a single study providing useful scientific information about what the vaping and scientific communities ask. Evidence on safety and health improvement. There are already several consumer product regulations by which quality of production can be reassured and inspected. Freedom of choosing a safer alternative. Do public health authorities have the right to stop smokers from choosing a safer alternative? Great question, especially if we write into the MHRA. Do they have the right to stop you as a smoker choosing a safer alternative? Do they have the right to regulate e-cigarettes so strictly, although we need them as a competitor against the freely available tobacco cigarettes? Who will bear the ethical and legal consequences of such a decision, which will adversely affect the health of smokers? Punishing the name. Most authorities simply do not like the name e-cigarettes. They do not like the fact that they have nicotine, they mimic smoking, and they provide pleasure to the user. However, these are also the main reasons for their success, and these features are not present in any other medicinal smoking cessation product, and that is why every other product has failed. Well, we all know that. And lastly, open-minded. A major characteristic of science is that you should approach a problem in an open-minded manner. This is how we've made massive discoveries in the past. Things like the Hadron Collider, the atom, nuclear power. Open mind. We can do this. Nothing is impossible. My personal motto. Authorities have displayed the exact opposite. Puritan, prohibitionistic attitudes. They reject a product because of ideology. Well, ideology is just being gay at the moment, completely stupid. The adverse health impacts of this behaviour will be tremendous. If you're asking me, it's forcing any vapors who will go back to smoking to do a long-term mass suicide. Because if they go back to smoking, they will end up killing themselves. Through their own choice. That's suicide in my eyes. MHRA, stop the world committing suicide. Stop your dumbass, ideological, Puritan, prohibitionist, almost draconian, religiously pushed forward. Immigrate, it's different, stone them to death ideology. Let real science, real proper scientists with proper labs and, oh yes, we have an open-minded thing. This seems to be working. Why is it working? Is there any problems with it? Oh shit, there are no problems with it. Look, it's a real safe alternative to smoking and taking a relatively harmless, yet addictive compound called nicotine. Wankers. A few other things I want to mention. A couple of encouraging emails from MEPs. One to the Padge on our own dear channel here. Dear Mr. Paget, thank you for your email. I have drawn your concern to the attention of Martin Callanan, MEP, ECR Shadow Rapporteur on this file. I believe he's Conservative. Can't have everything. Martin remains in close contact with the vaping community, both on an individual level and through the community and trade associations, and understands vapers' concerns. He informs me that he sees great public health benefit to be gained from e-cigarettes, and shares the British Medical Association's opinion that while e-cigarettes, like any novel product, may present some concerns until more data on their use is available. Hello, e-cigarettes have been around for 7 years. Even they're not listening properly. We are your tests, subjects, and studies. Ask us. They are nevertheless likely to be a much lower risk option than continuing to smoke. For this reason, he is pushing to make e-cigarettes at least as easily available as tobacco cigarettes to encourage as many users as possible to make the switch. Yours sincerely, Marina Yannakoudakis, Conservative MEP for London. So yeah, that was quite an interesting little reply. Now, I had noticed another one. Here we go. Now, this was from UKIP, which is iffy at best because, let's face it, a lot of their policies are mildly dodgy. This, UKIP, being a strongly libertarian, agrees with your personal rights to take tobacco and the like for whatever personal pleasure you take from it. We believe that the EU should have no jurisdiction over us, either as persons or as a United Kingdom in these matters, and that we are entirely able to take these decisions for ourselves as responsible individuals and as an independent nation. We certainly oppose this legislation at all levels, from votes in the committee, speeches as opportunity arises, meetings with industry lobbyists. Evidently, BAT are in contact with UKIP. Find that slightly difficult to believe, but still. And final votes in the Strasbourg Parliament. In a more rearguard manner, it may also be possible for UKIP to put down amendments in the legislation to water it down in progress, or loosen the limits for such things as milligrams allowed for over-the-counter sales. Unfortunately, our chances of success in these votes and amendments are as small as 3 old parties all vote against us, and in line with the EU bandwagon. So UKIP are saying that the Conservatives Labour, which we know are staunchly anti, and whoever the third party is, I'm not entirely sure, are voting in line. Whereas Martin Callanan, a Conservative MEP, so to speak, is pro e-cigarettes and vaping. So mixed signals there. Finally, from this particular email, the EU is entirely against personal liberty and freedom. Well, I've seen that for many, many years. And certainly wishes you, the end user, to be forced to be healthy in the way it decides for you. Big Brother, 1984, Equilibrium. Sorry to quote it, but The Matrix. Big Brother is watching you. You will do as you are told, and you will bloody well like it. Take the spank on the bottom, get back of the line, and take your fucking champ picks, whether you like it or not. And that was from William Dartmouth, MEP for European Parliament, blah 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 blah. Again, I get mixed messages from that. However, it's proof that we're getting through to some people who have a position of power. Now, the first article that I read was by a Greek doctor, Dr. Fornasis or something. I can't remember his name exactly, but I will pop a link in the final render of this video. Truth of the matter is, as I said before, do not give them any room to maneuver, no room to breathe, no room to even scratch their ass. You see it, you jump on it, you go, ha ha, you scratched your ass, we're gonna get you for it. Vape openly, vape hard, stay steamy, don't give up. I may even do a daily rhetoric, I don't know yet, but we're still really pissed at here at Team B BNP. And TheFury79 will remain staunchly uncensored in our delivery of what we find that can A, help, B, assist and promote the hobby of vaping. Don't let them take it away. Stay free. I've been TheFury79. You've been gorgeous. I'm going to have a nice vape. Okay, that was a very weak vape, but meh, probably need to fill the dripper. Peace.